Nailed it.
The next subject.
Yes.
I'm segueing.
Yes, please do. Please
Boom.
get us out of the hole.
Because we haven't talked about it yet, and it's a mandatory requirement for this podcast.
Fair enough.
Beartooth.
Yes!
Woo! Hey, I want to point out, before we get to that, I'm going to make this is not going to be a cut bit. It's not a bit. It's a point. Jimmy has a lot more musical history that we got to get to, which automatically means Jimmy has to come back for a second visit.
Absolutely.
So
We need a Jimmy
we're
part 2.
definitely going to have Jimmy part 2.
This is how
Matter
you
of
tell me I'm
fact,
only allowed to come
this
one more time.
episode, I like one-word titles. I've done that with our podcast so far. This is going to be Jimmy part 1.
Oh, gross.
Ew.
Jimmy part 1.
But Beartooth, let's talk about your experience with Beartooth, which is super recent.
Yes, let's
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
Beartooth.
Start
So-
with the noob.
I'm not experienced with the albums.
Right.
Okay.
My experience
That's
with
fair.
Beartooth thus far is just the playlist that we have put together.
For Tooth
for
of the Bear,
tribute band.
folks.
Yeah.
That is coming. We are still going to get that on the road.
I have been listening to that playlist nonstop.
and that's all the singles,
If I'm
basically.
listening to music, that's what I'm listening to.
Oh, I like
I'm into
it.
a lot of podcasts lately. Duh. So
Me too.
Same.
I'm a little worried that I've peaked with the bit. Like, how do I word this? That's not what I mean. I'm a little worried that I'm listening to the best stuff, and it's going to just be downhill from there.
Let me interject. Sir, let me tell you why you're wrong.
I'm not saying I'm right.
What I think Jake would probably back me up on this, if you want to see what they're about, not just what they put out to the world as singles, which is basically, with a few exceptions, that playlist that we're going to do, that's all their singles.
Right.
Because that's what you do in a tribute band. You do the stuff everybody knows.
Right.
You want to know, from me, Jimmy Jake will have a different opinion. If you want to listen to an album first minute to last minute, that is what Beartooth has become and is, it's Below.
Okay,
Below is
Don't tell me the name of the album. What's the picture on the front?
Purple Biker.
Okay, got it. That one.
Yes, that album
one
right
on
there.
the wall. Yep.
That album.
Easy, Bob. Calm down.
Bob took his
I'm
eye
accosting
out.
myself. That album is for Beartooth alone, is a perfect album. There's not anything you skip on that album. That's a big thing for me. When I find an
That's
album,
so funny. That's not what I would have guessed.
no, because there's
I'm gonna
other
pull up the playlist.
there are other albums. I love the album before that, Disease, the Orange album, for you. Yeah, I love that album. In fact, the song Disease
That song is awesome.
is one of my favorite songs. There's probably my top 2, maybe top 3 of theirs. But there's songs on there that if they weren't on the album, if they'd never been written, I wouldn't miss them. But if I'd have known that the songs on Below, if I'd have knew that album, they're like, you know what, we're going to cut this song and this song off the album from now on. They're not our greatest. I would be disappointed those songs are missing. That song, that album is, from start to finish, is everything Beartooth is, I think.
So you're gonna get mad at me. The songs from that album that are on this playlist are probably some of my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we have Past is Dead and Skin on there.
Yes.
Skin,
Both great tunes.
but certainly not their best work, and not the best on that album. But if you take that album as a whole, from when you're way home tonight, put that album up and start at the beginning and go to the end. I don't necessarily know. I don't speak to anybody else's feelings on what they think. So obviously, our music is for everyone and their own interpretation. I don't think there's anything on that album that's going to disappoint you. But knowing you as I do, I think if you went back to like Aggressive or one of their earlier albums,
Is that the one with the dude floating up?
that's disgusting.
Disgusting.
Or is that the one with the wolf face?
Yep.
A
Aggressive
Wolf
is the
Face.
one
There's
with the
some
wolf.
great songs
Okay.
in there, but that's, for me, is probably their weakest album.
Really?
So
Yeah, I think there's just stuff on there. There's too many tracks on there that are skippable to me.
Agreed.
With the breadth of stuff, especially with a new album coming in a month, like the amount of stuff they have, that's not their strongest. Even going, and you go back to like their EP, which is their earlier stuff. It's heavier, it's raw. He's not as polished with his stuff. There's still better songs there than there are on Aggressive to me.
I have several thoughts.
Go.
I have all the thoughts.
Go. We love talking about Beartooth. We could
Yes,
make every
we
episode.
could do a whole
right,
Somehow we
so
could episode
three.
right.
Let me go back to the beginning. Bob mentions Beartooth to me many moons ago. We're practicing more regularly with Faking Benjamin.
Okay.
Right.
Tim and Bob were talking, I believe you two were talking about it. And they're like, oh, you got to check it out. You got to check it out. And I listened to, I have YouTube music, right? I pulled it up and I played like the top song on the list, whatever it was.
Probably in between.
And I was like, whatever. It's ho-hum. It's fine. It's not bad. I
Right.
just was like, it doesn't grab me. It did not grab me. It seemed generic, and I did not hear the signature. Just calm the fuck down.
Generic.
Bob and I are both
There will be no
Put
part
your
two,
knives
sir.
away. Holster your weapons. That was my first impression of Beartooth. So every time I heard about Beartooth from Bob jerking off to the sound of the whatever, I was like,
hey,
it's meh, it's fine.
it's not,
I don't love
it's
it.
not masturbatory. It's a religious experience.
Whatever.
Please go on.
Masturbating is part of the religion. So Bob asked, fast
fair.
forward, didn't think anything of Beartooth. Bob asked me to be in the tribute band
Yes.
because whatever reason. And
We needed a competent drummer.
you have several competent drummers in your
No,
life.
not for that.
That may be.
Well, that's not true. I know drummers that could have done it. I knew you.
You just insulted all the drummers.
no, because we'll just run it down through. Ken's not going to play Beartooth. He's not a metal drummer.
Right, that's fair.
Jake from Fell from Zero could have done the stuff he would have been happy to if he had time. He doesn't.
See, so I was second on the list of Jake.
No, my point was, and
Can't
I
have
brought,
two Jakes in one band.
when Jake and I talked about it, I said I can ask Jimmy. I just don't know if he is going to be into it. It wasn't about you having time. I knew you were the right.
Chomping at the bit.
Well, I didn't know how much until you were like,
Desperate.
posting on the social medias. Who's got a band? Or
Somebody please help me.
roll that back. It was, yeah, I'm playing country with Ben Garner. I'm like, you're doing what? That's my thing to do.
I
now,
needed
Jimmy.
something.
I know, and you did a fantastic
And I
job.
had
at
fun
it,
for those 2 shows.
right? But I
Made me
spent
sad.
enough time in a band with you, knowing not only with Faking Benjamin, but with Chimpo. Not only can you play that stuff the way it's supposed to be played, vocally, you and I have a very good mesh. And bringing this is a band that's going to need at least 3 vocals to make it work. And Jake's not a singer. He knows that. He can do any screaming we need, but we don't need that. Not this Jake the drummer.
Yeah.
He can do the screaming and he could play the parts, but
I was like, he's right here, Bob. That's
he
kinda
wouldn't be able to do. He
I
wouldn't
mean,
be able
I'd
to
agree
do
with that.
No one
the
talks about
harmonizing
other
that
people
I
in
know
third
you and I can do, and I think you and he can. This Jake can do. Once we get to it, the parts we need done, you were the choice for that if you were willing. But I knew you weren't. You had a cursory knowledge of Beartooth,
Right.
And that's where it gets.
So you send out this request. I accept. I thought, okay, these people are insane for Beartooth, and
That's
there's
one way to
got to
put
be something there
Fair.
that I missed. Right? Maybe I didn't give it a fair chance. Maybe I didn't listen to enough. There are some of my favorite albums, and I'm sure you guys will agree. Some of my favorite albums are ones that I listened to the first time and went meh, and then I really listened to them again.
Yep.
And I got it, and it clicked, and now I love those albums.
Right.
So, I very much, cutting to the end, I'm going to Tarantino this a bit. I like Beartooth quite a bit now. I won't say I love Beartooth. I very much like Beartooth.
And on that point, I will forever remember the day I got a text. As
I
far
get
as-
it.
Your love for Beartooth, I get it now, and that's
Right.
all I needed. I'm like, and that's when you're like, when are we doing this band?
Yeah.
When is
Well,
this getting off the ground?
So the drums are unique and interesting in a lot of different ways.
Very.
His vocals are clearly like raw and aggressive, and again, unique is definitely the word.
I like that there's
There's a rawness to it.
there's a
is the word for
metalcore
me.
element because that's where they get lumped into, but he's got a like old school, almost punk rock vocal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think that's part of the charm of it. But go on.
And he's got range too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
which
He's
I
got-
appreciate.
And even now,
And not like
stupid range.
pitch range, just like
the newer stuff,
his
he's
abilities range.
showing ability range that he didn't even show in
Yeah.
the old albums too.
So we'll
Yeah.
get to that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna drop this in the bucket and run away. I'm not a fan of the newer stuff as much.
Really?
Just some of it I like. So like Sunshine, fucking love that
Oh,
song.
it's such a cool song.
It's such a weird, off the wall,
Yep.
different kind of song.
the-
Still within the genre.
The
of
literally
course, but
3 different versions of the chorus, like styles of
yes.
chorus.
When you
in
said that, I
song.
was like, interesting. I didn't really notice that.
Yeah, every chorus is a different, slightly different style. Like
But like I think I love myself. I'm like, or whatever that's called. I'm
Might
like,
love
it's
myself,
okay.
yeah.
I like. We were talking about this before you got
It's
here.
all
tonight.
right.
I love, and Jake said it. He actually said this exactly this thing.
I gotta
I
pull
love
that list too.
the positivity that he's getting. Like you can hear if you followed him like we do, you hear from when he was really struggling with what he had going on mentally, drinking to now,
Yeah.
where he's really finding like his healthy place. I think the journey he's on as someone who's listened to all of it all the way through,
As a person,
as
Yes.
a person coming through
Might
his
love
music,
myself, that's what's called.
I love the feeling. I love things that show you can feel the emotion and the things that people are going through.
I sound like a death metal vocal.
And it's
now.
and it's not cookie cutter or like he's got a specific story. And he said this new album is the end of a 10-year road for him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what Beartooth's going to be after this.
So, flip side to that coin,
Right.
I don't know anything about him.
Right.
All I know is I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube. And I'm like, that guy has an amazing situation.
Right.
That
He's
guy.
ripped.
Yeah.
He's
Wasn't always.
clearly a talent. So, like, why does everybody care about him so much? Now, I understand the depression, and I'm not trying to belittle that.
Well-
I know even people that have the best situation have depression, and it's
Well,
awful thing.
and we've talked about this in a previous episode. I've never had dealt. I mean, everybody deals with a down point, but I've never dealt with out and out depression like some people. Jake's talked about. He's
Yep.
had. My wife has had some anxiety and depression issues. Like everybody has different levels of it. I've never really been that low that I felt that way. So I get it from an outside perspective. I understand he's telling us what he went through on those albums.
Yeah.
But I don't connect to that. I connect to the emotion he's telling us with.
Sure. So, as somebody who does not have that investment, I could give a shit.
Right.
And that means, I mean, I'm happy for him, right? As a person, as another human being, figure your shit out. That's awesome.
Yep.
But as a musician, I don't care personally. So when I hear the new music, I don't have that investment. I'm not the sixth man in the stands, as we talked about earlier.
Right. That makes sense.
I'm just listening to the song on its own merits.
Okay.
And some of them just don't. They just don't like.
Don't
They
grab
don't have. They don't have that signature that I've grown used to in listening to some of these Beartooth songs. Sunshine does. It's got that weirdness, and it's even more than some of the old stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the new ones, and I haven't listened to the Better Me. I haven't listened to that one.
That's.
I want to transition
I
into
hope
that
that
one.
some
then.
of these songs come back around and.
I think
What
we're
we're hearing
hearing all
is
the
different.
new and happier weird stuff that they're dropping. They've dropped 5 songs now of this album. We're probably going to get 5 or 6 more that we haven't heard on the album, and that's going to be it.
Yep.
So we've heard half the album. But he has made mention many times while they're recording this is going to be heavier than Below was.
Yeah.
And
Which
if that's
one's Below?
The
purple one.
purple one.
Gotcha. Sorry.
And that's
you
a
said that
heavy
earlier, my
album
bad.
almost exclusively through. There's very little that doesn't come down.
Yeah.
If that's the case, some of these songs have a heavy riff to them, so if they're not that like you're saying, they don't have the connection. My hope is these other songs they haven't released yet are just
Slamming.
slamming, and if
Yeah.
they're not, I'm still probably gonna love them.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
wasn't sure about this new one, Better Me. I wasn't sure about that song. I liked it.
Is that the one with the video with the golf carts?
Yeah.
And that's are
I
you
saw
familiar-
that, but I can't remember the
Are
song.
you familiar with Hardy, the country guy who does a lot of like rock stuff?
no.
He's real big in the country world because he does some good country because I've listened to a lot of stuff, but it's very modern. But he put out an album that's just a straight rock album.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's one of those young guys that's making it on his own down there in Nashville and just going, "This is what I grew up on." So
Like
if I
more
want
real country
if
than
I
pop
want to make
country?
a country song, great. If I want to make a hard rock song, here you go. And people are buying it.
Yeah.
He has a whole line in one of his songs about his some more along lines of his name is worth something now, and that's something he has trouble understanding.
He does a song with Jeremy McKinnon from Day to Remember,
Okay.
and that's the first song I had heard, and it was actually here at one of our beer tasting
Right.
parties. It was played, and he switches genres.
Mid song,
Yeah, like
like he goes from country to the metal guy. It's just, and the fact they added him to this Beartooth song, I even told Jake the first time I heard it, I didn't realize one their vocals are maybe it's the mix too, what they did in the studio, but it took me a second to realize who was who. They're splitting the very
They do
first
sound
verse.
very
The
similar.
very first verse, they're splitting it down the middle, and I didn't really catch the first time through till the very last word or two that Hardy's at the end of it because
I
the
remember
country
thinking
comes
as I was
in.
listening to it, like, is that the Beartooth guy?
the Beartooth guy.
Yeah, like
Is it Caleb? Is
They,
that-
Caleb,
Yeah,
yeah.
they definitely. I told him tonight, and this is maybe I could tell by his reaction. He thought it was a bold statement. Of the songs, the 5 songs they've now released total since Riptide till now for this new album.
Oh,
I've
Riptide's
listened-
from the new album too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking
that
love
was
Riptide.
I assume it's there. It's the first new thing they released after
Yeah.
Below.
Yeah.
And I assume it's coming on the new album.
Okay.
It's been a year and a half since they released it.
I'm
but
almost positive if you go in like on Spotify,
it shows up now.
Yeah, like they have the 5 songs grouped together.
Well, I think Better Me might be the best of the 5 songs they released. And I think Sunshine's one of their best songs, period. But the more I listen to that song,
I'll
maybe
give
it's
another chance.
maybe it's that emotional
Fine.
maybe it's that emotional connection
Fuck
to it
you, Jake.
that I'm finding and following his whole thing. But something about it, when I first heard it, I didn't think that at all. There was a weird timing to it when it came in, and I was like, something took me a second to catch up to it, but I think it might, of these new songs, I think it might be the best one.
2 things. 1, as a drummer who is obsessed with listening to other drummers,
Right.
that's the first thing I listen to. And if I recall, the drumming on this song not that interesting.
It's not overly interesting.
So that may be part of why it didn't grab me, but to me, again, some of that signature's not there. It's a little more just straightforward. And when this is just me and my own personal hangups. When I'm listening to new bands and I'm looking at the Fair to Middling poster, right? I'm
So
looking for
good.
something new and different and unique because I've heard so much like
Right.
there's so much octane XM radio out
You're
there.
right, and
I'm just like I don't care.
I didn't give
It's
that,
fine,
I
but-
didn't look at it through that lens. Better Me probably is like the most radio friendly thing,
Yes, it-
standard thing they've done.
And it
But-
scares me whenever I hear bands do that because I'm worried like, okay, they're going to make some money and then they're going to do that from now on. It's going to be Sugar Ray all over again.
Now, did you listen to the song "Doubt Me" they put out right before that?
Oh!
Which "Doubt Me" got buried by
I-
this.
It really
release.
did.
I think I heard like half of it. I
That
saw
one-
like I posted and I didn't have time to really listen
That
to it.
one,
I
if
gave it a
you
quick-
like the feel, or not, I mean, just as a general term, the feel of Sunshine,
Yeah.
like what they did with that. "Doubt Me" has more of a classic Beartooth.
I
get
do
it to
remember
it.
from what I heard,
Um,
it was more aggressive and has a little
Yes.
more grit.
Yeah, and that's more of what I would expect from him. So I think I'm more surprised by songs like "Love Myself" or "Better Me" because it's out of his wheelhouse. But
This is the
as-
Stained getting happy moment.
well, here's the thing with him. I think Stain getting happy moment for Aaron Lewis backfired on him because he couldn't go
He's
back.
upset.
Whereas Caleb has been trying to get here, and I think going forward, clearly he can still write an aggressive song
Right.
about being happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll see. I always reserve judgment because you can be disappointed by a band. Look, I love Breaking Benjamin. I think the shit hanging on my walls here and the fact that you've known me enough years to know that there's some stuff that's just not
Meh.
what I got into them for.
Right.
And being in a band where we basically learned every one of their songs for 6 albums, it doesn't dawn on you when you're in it, and Beartooth is the same way. It doesn't dawn on when you're in it till you really dissect the songs for whatever reason, how much they're the same goddamn song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beartooth doesn't have that as much as he moves albums. There's a Beartooth sound, and that's because he literally writes every part.
So I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You struck a nerve.
what album is it? Hold on. I think it's the one with the floaty dude.
That
Disgusting.
disgusting.
That's
So
the first
I need to
album.
listen to this for just 10 seconds.
Go ahead. Copyright infringement.
He's listening to the
Yes.
lines right
The
now.
lines.
So
Yeah, I
it's
hear
the
lines.
lines. So,
All I heard was the chick, and
that album.
yes.
So that's an early album?
That's
It's
their
the
first
first album.
full length. Yeah.
Did he
Yeah.
do all the parts himself?
I don't know if that one he did recorded every part. And
Do
I
you
know,
know-
were we talking about that it was aggressive that someone co-wrote with him or disease?
Disease. He had someone co-write. I think it was multiple people co-wrote songs with him on that album.
On that album, but for the most part, I'm thinking at least 90% of every song Beartooth put out is him not just writing the parts but going and recording himself too.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, and I would love to. It sounds like you're not going to know the answer to this. I thought you
might
would.
not.
I figured I'd be tested. I thought you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Maybe
but
Jake knows something I don't.
Did he not? So did he? I'm stumbling. I don't think he tracked those drums. I think those are.
Digital drums.
Sequenced.
I want to
Sequenced,
say
thank you.
I want to say yes because he at one point was sponsored by GGD, Get Good Drums,
Okay.
and
I'm not familiar with those ones.
it was that's actually what I use for my recordings.
They actually
is-
are really good. Like,
Yeah, I would
sample
say you're the
drums
one that
What are the
turned-
other ones that are pretty popular? Can't think of it.
I'm,
Doesn't matter.
'cause
I
sent-
use it.
that's
I use
not
one of
the
the
one I
other
sent you
solutions.
Yeah, so I know he
'Cause they all
was
sound so good,
he
man.
was
It's
partnered
ridiculous.
with Get Good Drums using their aggressive rock One Kit Wonder setting or plugin, which is what I use for all of my stuff.
Surprise!
But I think from what I have gathered and watched and learned from Beartooth videos,
Jake is a student.
it's not
Apparently.
until Disease that he's actually playing real drums.
Okay.
So that puts 2 albums and an EP ahead of that.
Yes.
That being one of the albums, their EP before that, and the aggressive album. That would make sense.
Yes.
So this man, there are musicians that I see, or listen to, or whatever, and I'm inspired, and then there are musicians that I see or hear, and I'm depressed, and it makes me not want to play anymore. He's on that border because like the drum parts on that CD are quite good, and all these songs are very good, very interesting, very different. On that CD specifically, he must have been just getting his legs underneath him with the drums because it's like a bit of a Presidents of the United States situation. He uses just the hi-hats for a crash. If you
Yes.
listen, it's the weirdest fucking thing.
President of the United States.
The
Like,
biggest,
well, on the President
he's
of the
going
United
all
States
lump
CD,
on it and whatnot. And peaches.
Well, on that CD, there's no crash symbol. It's ride
I
and
would have never picked
splash.
that
the,
up without
the
hi-hats.
biggest example from the first album that he's talking about is go listen to I Have a Problem.
Oh yeah.
And when he
he's
he's coming in on that I found my vice, he's just beating on the splash and you hear him accenting on the hi-hat.
Yes.
I noticed that
Yeah,
as
you're
soon
right.
as I started learning that song on guitar.
So
But
there's
I
that.
would not have picked that up without you pointing out. Now I'm never gonna hear that.
If you listen
Yeah.
to the lines, you can hear like that whole
Yeah,
beat.
he
There's
is
like
going there on the
random
hi-hat.
hi-hat hits in there. Just like
And
it's
you
clearly
think that
riding
was
on the crash.
You think that was something he added in digitally or sequenced?
I think because it was sequenced, he just went, well, I got this hi-hat. And
I can
I
do
have
it.
one crash cymbal. I need that for what he's riding. And there's even parts in the other song that's on this list. The name eludes me at the moment. But,
The lines.
in between.
in
in
between
between
the
or-
lines of the
Or it
two
might have
big
been Body
ones.
Bag. I can't remember one.
Body Bag's a really
Either
good
one of
song.
those two. There's a section where like you can hear, it might be Body Bag actually, that he's crashing with the right hand on a crash cymbal, and then he's also hitting the hi-hat at the same time.
So it's just
And it's this weird thing which
you wouldn't
I
do
hesitate.
naturally.
You wouldn't really do that typically. However, what I do really appreciate is that there's nothing in there that I've heard that's impossible to play.
Right.
And what I mean is there's no three-hand situations.
You brought that to me in some of the covers. I
that
brought
irritates
back,
the fuck out
back
of
in
me.
Chimpo. I'd bring those Punko's Pop covers. You'd be like, that is clearly
Fake.
sequenced. No
Yeah.
one can play that.
Right.
Like no
you
one
don't
can do
have
that
enough
live.
hands
Yeah.
to play the three things
Which
at once.
I wouldn't pick up. I'm just like, listen how fast is he? And you're like, that's because it's not real.
Right. Well, these days.
And with that said about the whole like program drums in the
But
first two
respect
albums,
for not doing that, right?
Right.
Yeah. On the third album, Disease, the orange cover album, you can tell that he's actually playing drums on that album.
Okay. I'll have to listen more closely to that one then.
Because like that was one that I think he had a bigger budget essentially to use.
That was the first Red Bull record. No, Aggressive was the first Red Bull record.
yeah.
I think.
So there's all kinds of like there's a whole like mini documentary series on YouTube of him making that album.
Oh, I'll have to watch that then.
And there's a
That speaks. I
I'm
love
pretty
that
sure
stuff.
there's
Yeah.
one whole video of him just doing drums and like him having to take breaks to roll out knots in his forearm from playing for so long.
I never struggle when I'm playing the drums. Certainly not at the last show we played where my arm practically fell off.
Or
I'm
back
so
in
out
the
of
day
shape.
when I would be like, Jimmy, we've been playing for 3 hours. It's ever long time. You mother.
Yeah. Good Lord.
But totally my brain went that way.
Sorry.
For a
Documentary
second.
on YouTube.
Yes.
Playing drums, knots in the arms.
But I know Bob and I have talked about it where Caleb has openly said Disease has been one of his least favorite albums because he's had so many people co-write with him on that.
So it's diluted.
To him,
He's a control freak in the best way musically. Like he has always done things his way in this band, and we can't be sure if it ever has really been said if he was asked to do that or he thought it was a good idea at the time. Like, did the producer come in and go, "Well, why don't you work with some other people and see what you can come up
I
with?"
think that's initially what it was.
It can definitely. So
Yeah.
I don't want to work alone because I know my limits and I know like when I'm writing, I'll hit a wall and then that's it.
Yep.
That song is done.
no
whatever
one's
state
there.
it's
No
in.
one's there to push you or
Right.
add something to
or
it.
to challenge me.
Right.
When somebody like that can write songs like that in a vacuum, I just don't get it. To me, that's crazy. I can't finish a song
And that's what.
and feel good about it.
I mean, when the Disease album came out, I'd already been aware of BareTooth. We were actually from the one before the Aggressive. We were covering Hated, and Fell from Zero at the time. Like I was
Another
very
great
aware,
song.
very aware of them. And Disease came out, and they released that song as the lead single, the first single.
The title track.
I must have listened to that song the first day I was able to like actually listen. You know, it wasn't just on Sirius or something. I must have listened to that song probably 30 times that first day. That is still by far, I'm telling you, it's probably my favorite Beartooth song. There's something about what he's saying and how that song feels and how different it felt from the album before. So when that album showed up, you know, I still do CDs. Yeah, I'm one
Me
of
too.
those guys that I ordered the
Weirdo.
CD. Well, you know what? The stereo in my car, because it's older in my Honda, sounds awesome with CDs, way better than these compressed MP3 I'm streaming.
That's why you got to use FLAC, Bob.
Well, Spotify doesn't
Or
FLAC.
Opus, Bob.
So
Or use Plex, Bob.
I love throwing a CD in there and being able. And right now, my first 4 of my 6 in my change are all Beartooth. But I love to hear it. And when I put that album in, and that album starts out,
Disease.
yeah,
With
the way that
Greatness
album
or Death?
starts out with Greatness or Death, and he's all very, you wouldn't know the tracks, but it's very mellow, and then he just starts screaming before the music comes in,
good.
and it's startling if you never heard it. I got out of work. I remember clearly. I'm sitting at the red light at work, and I'm all right. Let's see how this is. Let's play it because I'd only heard the one song. And I'm like, that's a little low. Why is it so low? And it just came, and I was like, oh my god! I got home. We went somewhere. I'm like, babe, I got the new album. So Jen gets in the car. I'm like, you're gonna love this, and I'm like, let's listen to the first track. And let
Listen
it go.
real close.
She jumped out of her damn seat. She's like, what the? I'm like, sorry, I had to do it to somebody else. It just, you could just feel the difference in the album. That's why I said Aggressive has more songs that I'd probably skip than any other album.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until Below came out that, man, it's a nonstop ride. And that's when I really, between those albums, when I started looking more into the band themselves and him.
The backstory.
And I found out that he essentially writes and records all the stuff alone. And when that album came out, I'm like, not only is this an impressive musically and vocally and lyrically, everything about this I love, but he did this himself.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
I'm not only jealous, I'm in awe of it. And that's part of.
You're depressed. You go past inspiration and you get to, man, I'll never be anywhere close to that, so why try?
Nailed it.